Right, so now I have just done hit the recording. Hopefully recording will start. And let me see yeah. So we have started functions last week in JavaScript. So we are very much into JavaScript, and I hope the practice questions that that you did last week were of good help. And we have talked about function declarations. What are function declarations? And even we have just talked about those function declarations, and we saw that how we can just write functions in a smaller way, in a way that would be interesting. So we talked about that there are three types of functions in JavaScript now. First of all is function declaration, was one something that we have done. We declare a function and we work on that. Okay, did we have a notes file? That yes, notes file was there. So if you see here that we talked about there are lots of things. Last week we talked about starting, data types, and all those things. We talked about ternary operator and all those. So towards the end, the last file that we discussed was the function declarations. And in function declarations, we have seen that we can define a function and we can use maybe a single line to just write a function. So today I'll try to build on that one. But first of all, before that, I'll talk about another type of functions, which is function expressions, right? So just want to make you inform that we started UDF, user defined functions, and we saw that function declarations, and I'll just give you another quick example for function declaration as well. Okay, so now we are into our week 6. So I'll make a week 6 folder. Okay, so week 6, and we will be working in week 6 now. Okay, so I'll make a week 6 .txt rather than notes. I'm just making week 6 .txt again, just for the naming ease and we'll be able to. So week 6, this is our notes file. Right. So we talked about that the first type is function declaration, and the second type is function expressions. And third type is I've told you that question mark. I've not discussed that one, but anyhow, let's start our today's script file. And again, I can call it script.js for today, the first file, right? And we will work in that one. So the first type that we talked about was the function declaration, and we saw that, again, this is just for the reminder, that we define a function like this, function and foo, just giving an example, and we say anything into that function, and that function is basically, then that function is called like this, right? So can everyone just please confirm? And again, you remember we have talked about we can pass in the parameter. We can say, okay, I pass in a, it will return a into a, like a square of a. Maybe this can be called as a square function or something we have talked about. So, but just the function is declared, and function is, again, right now it won't print anything. So if I just call square 5, now it will print 25. Now I'm hoping that you remember we had a very nice discussion on, we had a very nice discussion. Putting up my marker today. I don't know what's doing. Anyhow, so we had a nice discussion on how this function will be called from here, and how it will return a value, and how this value will be caught in console.log and printed. Can everyone please confirm that now you remember this function declaration? It was basically function declaration over here, and we declare a function and we just use it like a normal function. Yes, I can see few thumbs up. And Ian, Tyler, Mark, Glenn, Neil, Mackenzie. Okay, that's wonderful. Now, today we are not talking about function declarations. We can talk about that, or we will be just talking about that as well. But today we are starting our discussion with the second type, and the second type was function expression. Now, this is a very interesting fact about JavaScript. Here, I would like you to first understand what is an expression rather than going to function expression. I would like to ask a question over here. What is an expression? Can anyone tell me expression is what? When we say expression, do you really know what does that mean? Expression. Then we'll talk about the function expression, by the way. Yeah. What is an expression? Can anyone let me know? Because this is a very important concept and you must know, okay, expression is this. And then we can talk about function expressions. If you understand expressions, function expressions will be rather easier. Expression. Now, exactly. Glenn, you are right. Something that evaluates to a value, that evaluates to something. That is very right. Evaluates to a value or something like that. What does that mean? This is a very important definition. What does that mean? Now, answer me if I write something. So, for example, if I say A plus B, do you think yes, this will be evaluated to something, considering that and B will have some values? So consider maybe A is 5 and B is 6, so it will evaluate to 11. Like, it will evaluate. Now tell me, now you have to tell me that whether it is an expression or not. If I say A equal to B, is that an expression? A equals to B. A equals to B. Kara says no. Like any other one? Can anyone else please just let me know? Or how much of you favor the Kara's comment? Mackenzie says yes. Okay. No idea. No problem. No problem. Listen, this is not an expression. I'll tell you why. And another idea to recognize the expression. If I say A is equal to B plus C, can you tell me, do you see an expression here? And if you see an expression here, which one is the expression? Now, I will reply to this A is equal to B. Why A is equal to B is not an expression. But let me first ask maybe Kara if you understand, and everyone, we understand that there is one expression, and which is that one. So listen about that. A very simple formula for the equation over here. Exactly, B plus C is a calculation part of it. Yeah, exactly, B plus C. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So yeah, exactly. So you see that B plus C is an expression that evaluates to something. Now that's a very important concept. Now if I ask A is equal to B equal C. Now, do you see that this will be expression and this will be evaluated? If B is really equal to C, it will be evaluated to true and A will get true. Are you getting that? So which one is the expression? Now let me make a very, adult equal to um, age greater than or equal to 18. Now see here. Now this will be more making sense. Which one is the expression out of it? This is the expression that evaluates to true or a false, depending upon the age. And this is basically, it's just the assignment or equality. So whenever equal comes, this becomes an equation. But one side of it is called an expression. One side, even this side is also called expression. Why? Because I can put it in the console and it will be replaced with its value. Does that make sense to everyone? So expression is either side of equal. Expression is one side of equal that evaluates to some other value. Can I get a thumbs up from those who are having a bit like shaky idea of expression? One side of equation which evaluates to a value, And not only that one, as I said, this is also an expression. So again, you can say either side of the equation is basically called an expression. That's wonderful. If you know the expression, now we will talk about function expressions. What are function expressions? JavaScript gives us this feature of we can define a variable. For example, greeting, it's a variable, variable. And you would be surprised to know, because this is a very weird behavior of JavaScript, unlike other programming languages. It says greeting equal to, you can define function, curly braces, and console.log. Let's see here. You should be surprised to see. I have said equal to function, no name being given, and function parameter like parenthesis, and then the function body has been defined. Now, the thing I have highlighted, I've just made you understand that concept of expression. Do you see function has been used as an expression, one side of equal? Do you agree, everyone? Now I have defined the function as equal to other side. So JavaScript has this interesting feature. JavaScript says that you can define a normal variable like this and assign it a function, a method into that one. Now, most of you will be thinking that how we will call this function. That should be a natural. So first of all, let's understand that. Do you understand that why it is called function expression? Because before that we were just defining a function like this. That's why I have to give an example. Function declaration is like this. You declare a function in a normal way, right? But when you say function expression, so you do what? You define a variable or define a name var, and then you say equal to, and then you give the function definition. Now, few point to notes before we discuss more. Since here there is no name given, we usually give the name after the function keyword. Since there is no name given, that's why this type of function are called anonymous function. Are called anonymous functions. Does that make sense to everyone? Anonymous function, because this function has not been given any name. Rather, this whole function has been allocated to a variable. I'll talk about how to call that. But first of all, do you understand the concept what I'm saying over here? Now, I would like to discuss that in a very interesting way. I will just talk about something. Just see. I'll go to the console. I usually show that. If I say var greeting equal to function, the same function I'm writing, console.log, and I say welcome. Okay, now you see here, I've written down the same thing. Everyone is looking at it, hopefully. I'll just make it a bit bigger. Function expression. How do you know? Because the function has been written after the equal to sign. Make sense, everyone? Now, if I hit enter, now you must be wondering that how to call this function. Now, if I just write greeting and hit enter, do you understand what's happening? As a normal variable, greeting is saying what is inside me. I have a function f sign and I have a function body inside that one. So I have this value. But this function is not executed by the way. You know what I mean? If I want to execute this function, I'll have to do something like this. Now see what happens. Now, how many of you are understanding how to invoke the function? And if I just get the value of the variable, of course, I will get the complete function because greeting is equal to a function in its own. Is that making sense to everyone? Can I get so how we will get the value of that one? Like how we will invoke or execute the function? To execute the function, we'll put these again parentheses, and then this function will be executed. If I don't execute, if I just write greeting, I will just get the definition of the function like this, and function keyword is removed. It says that f, it's a function, console.log welcome is inside that one. So it's a very simple formula if you think about it. Greeting is a variable that has this value. So if you just print greeting, greeting will show that what is inside me. I'll come back over here and I'll show you over here. So if I say console.log and I say greeting, no calling of the function. Remember, you understand what I'm saying? That I'm not calling the function, I'm just saying greeting. Let's see what happens. Node script.js. You see function greeting. It says me that okay, greeting is a function that has some value. Here the console is not giving the complete definition. Now, if I want to call this function, how I'll call that? I'll say greeting this one. Now see here, what is it? I hope now you know the difference between these two. Is that making sense to everyone? I'll just wait for the William. Yeah, that's wonderful. Kelly, are you understanding that? That's wonderful. Because this is that's why I'm just taking too much time, that it's an important concept. And I want you to be, every one of you to be with me while doing that. That's wonderful. Now, can someone tell me where this undefined is coming from? There's one more uninvited guest here. Why is undefined? Okay, this looks like the definition, like this, the function which has been stored. This looks like the welcome that has been printed from this function. What is this uninvited guest, undefined? Where this undefined is coming from? And I will be very happy. So it's basically renames the function in a way. Yes, Mackenzie, you are right. It renames the function in a way, or it gives you a variable as a name of the function. William, function is undefined. William, it's not making that much sense. Can anyone else let me know why this undefined guest is coming over here? Why this undefined is there? And last class we had a discussion on this. I think we had a detailed discussion on that one. That's Kelly. That's a wonderful answer. How many of you understand Kelly's answer? Can you just give a thumbs up to Kelly's answer if you're understanding? Actually, what is happening when I call greeting from here, when I call greeting from this line, see here. Now you see, when I call greeting from this function, we call greeting. It prints welcome. This one, the welcome comes over here. And after that, this console.log is looking for a return from a greeting. But can you tell me, like Kelly has already answered, someone has liked, like Mackenzie has liked that. Now listen about that one. Can someone tell me, did I return anything from this function? Explicitly, did I return anything from that function? Yes or no? Did I use the return statement in this function? No, there is no return statement over here. So exactly. Now, if I did not use that, Mackenzie, you know that always remember a function always return an undefined value. So undefined value is replaced with this one, and this undefined is printed with this console. You are right, Kelly. If you want to see that, I'll show you. Return, for example, 10. I don't know, just for nothing. See my output now. Hopefully everyone will understand now. Now this uninvited guest undefined has gone. And now you see that this all function call is replaced with the 10 because 10 has been returned. So when function returns something, the console.log will print that value over there. Now, another question, because I want you to be very clear about that. I'll just, make both of these lines comments. I want to show you something. Can someone guess what will be my output now? Will it be welcome 10 or only welcome? McKinsey or anyone? Can you just let me know that whether my output will be only 10 or my output will be, will be only welcome or it will be welcome 10? Without running the code, I need your answer. Just 10. Good. Welcome 10. David says welcome 10. Good. Anyone else? Both won't it? Okay, right. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I need more answers. This is very wonderful because when you will answer, I will understand okay how much you are just grasping. Welcome 10. I think both. Okay, Kara, thank you. Welcome 10. Good. Well, Kara says welcome 10. Now, see here the output. You should be surprised to see the output now. It's only welcome. And I'll tell you why it's only welcome. Now, please listen to this one very carefully. Is there a console that prints out what is returning from greeting? Question. Is there a console? There is no console.log. Yes, there is no print statement for the return. Return is coming. It is the greeting has been replaced with 10. But is there a console to catch that and print that on my output? Not at all. Not at all. I hope everyone is basically getting that one now. You know what I mean? Now, if I just put a console.log statement over here, console.log statement, Darren, that makes sense. That's wonderful. So you see here, if I place a console.log statement, now Darren, see here, Now, definitely it should print both welcome and 10. Then that makes more sense because now I am catching the value and printing the value. But if you are just catching the value and not printing that, you're just catching the value and you're just writing over here this greeting. So 10 is coming back, but 10 is not being entertained by anyone. 10 is not being caught by anyone. 10 is not being printed by anyone. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And now, by the way, if I ask another question, see here, carefully look at my code. I have commented out console.log. What will be my output of my program now? There is no console.log statement in my greeting function. What will be my output? Nothing. Kelly says nothing. Yes, Kelly, you are right. You are right. There will be nothing. No, not undefined. Not undefined. Nothing. You know, Mark, when will come? When undefined will come? See, I'll tell you. When undefined will come. For example, if I just make again right now, why not undefined? Because there is no console, and this greeting is returning 10, but no one is catching those 10. Now, if I just change one thing over here, console.log, and I call this one. Now, can anyone tell me what will be my output now? Very simple. McKinsey, what will be my Mark? It won't be. It was not. Kelly says 10. Kelly is very fast today. Kelly says 10. See here. Yes, 10. Now, Mark's question. If I come over here and if I do something like this, now what will be my output? Mark, do you understand that? Now what will be my output? Because I am expecting something to come out of this function and print that. But the function is not printing anything anymore. Mark, understand that. So what will be the output now? It would be undefined now. Mark, you understand that? And everyone else? And this is very important concept. Again, as I said, that you need to just understand these little little things because they become a bit of problem later on. So our topic was not like but again, this is very important. Returning from a function, not returning from a function. If I just make them both of them now, uncomment them. So now you know that I'll get both of the output, welcome and 10. Why? Because function is returning something. And now if I just make one line comment, this one, so now I'll get welcome and undefined. You see welcome and undefined. Why? Because it's not returning anything. So I hope you understand that now. Anyhow, we were not talking about this. We were talking about function expressions. You remember? So function expressions can be of multiple types as well. You might be thinking that, okay, the same var square function that we created. So I say square equal to function. Now, if you need to have a parameter, you can just write the parameter over here, make the body, and then you say return n into n. How would I call this function? Please remember, this is just returning, not printing anything. So I'll say console.log square 5. Now, what will be my output? Anyone? Will there be any output, by the way? Will there be any output? So this function is now accepting a value and returning n into n. And I'm calling this square 5. What will be the value that it will give me? I'm waiting for the reply from someone. Let's see who comes up. Kelly says 25. I don't know, Kelly. Let's check. Ian says 25. Yes, you both are right. It would be 25. Why? Because I'm returning a value and printing that value. Now, who will tell me what will be the answer now? I have not passed any variable. I talked about this. I think I talked about this situation in the last week. If I do not pass a value, what should come out? See here, not a number, because undefined goes over here because I'm not passing anything. Do you remember? Yes, not a number. Ian, did we discuss that in detail? If you don't pass anything, it becomes undefined. Undefined multiplied by undefined becomes NaN, not a number. You remember that? That's wonderful. So if I pass a value, If I pass a value 2, of course, now I'll get what? I'll get the value answer 4. So now this is called a function expression. I hope everyone understands, because function has been bound or bind with a variable, and now I can call that variable, and I can just, so if again, if I just take out these parentheses and I just say I want to know what is the square, like the value of the square, it will say I am a function square. I am a function square. Okay, we'll just convert that function as well. The last time that we create var add equal to function, it will accept two parameters, a comma b, and here I'll say, okay, return a plus b. We have talked about this function in very much detail, but anyhow, just for the function expression sake, console.log add and accept two values, and of course, what will be my output? Of course, over here, it should be 7 here, right? Because there we have not made any catch over there. We are just doing that. Make sense, everyone? So this is function expression, and we can use this variable name and then an anonymous function, and they are we can just use them like that one, right? So the third type I'm still not discussing. First, I want you to just grasp these two types, and then we'll talk about third type, which is very interesting and which we'll be using too much later on. But right now, so you understand, a function can be declared like an expression. A function can be declared like a normal variable, and function can work in a different way. Right now, I would like to tell you something very, very interesting about the functions. I hope you will enjoy that, and then we'll talk about a certain situations as well. Now, so I told you that if you define a function, so I'll just first of all make, and then my log. I want to display a log, for example. So console.log. This is a function that accepts a parameter. Now, there is a default keyword that is available in all functions of JavaScript that we can use to know how many arguments or how many parameters have been passed, what is the length of the parameter, and so and so and so, so like. So there is a special keyword that does this for this, and the special keyword is called arguments. Arguments.length, I am saying that how many arguments or how many parameters have been passed to it. Arguments.length will find that. Okay, I'll after say that after that. Okay, what is this a value that has come? And I can check arguments is created as an array, and I can check which one is the first argument. Now, please very carefully just listen to this. Arguments is a default keyword that is provided in every function. And first of all, question number 1, what type of function I am making? We have discussed two types of function. Is it declaration or is it expression? Can anyone tell me? Is it expression or declaration? That's wonderful. It's declaration, because I have not used variable equal to. Oh, William, it's not expression. William, it would have been expression if there is a variable mylog equal to an anonymous function over there. William, you forgot about that. Yeah. So see here. Now this function is a very interesting function. This function says that I will print arguments.length. How many arguments have been provided? I will print the value of that argument maybe, and I will print arguments of 0. So whenever arguments is provided, it becomes an array. Like if there are two values, it will become an array. Now I'll show you what does that mean. If I call this function like this, mylog, and I say hello, right? Now see my output. 1, hello, hello. Now I'll just go with few outputs, and then I'll ask you how many if you understand. Mylog, hello, world. Now see my output. I'll just put all these outputs and everything together, and then I'll ask you questions. 1, hello, hello. 2, hello, hello. Okay. Log, hello, world, in. Now you see, let me just, I can clear that because I'm printing all these values. 1, hello, hello. 2, hello, hello. 3, hello, hello. First of all, let's analyze this 1, 2, 3. Do you see that here I have passed only one argument? You see here one argument. So arguments dot length calculates the argument and tells me there is only one argument for the first call. You know what I mean? And then it says, what is that argument? Argument is hello, which I have passed. It prints that hello. And then it says that if there were multiple arguments, the array has been created. The first value of that array is basically hello. So in that first situation, all three values are same, and one argument, and the argument is hello, and the argument of 0. If you create an array of these arguments, the first argument will be hello. Exactly. Arrays always start at 0. Remember, always, Glenn, this is a very general or a very universal rule, sort of. Now see the second call. How many arguments I passed over here? Glenn, can you tell me how many arguments are here? Here there are 2 arguments. You see that? So arguments dot length calculates it 2. That's wonderful. Now see here, argument dot length calculates is 2, and whatever is the first value, this becomes the value of A, and that's why it has just printed hello again. And if argument is an array, argument of 0 is still having it hello, because argument of 1 will have the next value. How many of you understand that? I'm not printing that, but I'll show you that later on. Do you understand? Argument of 0 is still hello. Is that making sense? Glenn says making sense. Mark says making sense. Now I'll complete that. This is very wonderful. Now if you come over here, how many arguments I have passed over here? 3 arguments. Now 3 arguments. Now 3 arguments, it says 3. But then I say A. A is always the first value that will be received. It will catch that value by default. So it shows that A, and then it says that, okay, so I says that print A is a hello, and argument of 0 is still hello. Now tell me what will be my output for all 3 steps now. If I write arguments of 1, here, what will be my output? I hope you are predicting what will be my output. Okay, let's talk about this first of all. What will be output of first line? 941. No, I'm okay. 3 hello world. Okay, let's run that one. See here what happens. Yeah, exactly. See here. The first one is 1 hello undefined. The second one is 2 hello world, and 3 is hello world. 3 hello world. You know what I mean? That's a wonderful, because I'm just taking the first argument, and the first time there is no first argument. That's why undefined comes over here, because I passed only one argument. You see what I mean? Okay, if I say 2 over here, now can anyone tell me what will be the exact output of these 3 lines if I give 2 arguments? I need 3 output lines. As Ian, you mentioned 1 hello undefined. Can you tell me what would be the undefined for the first 2, then key in for the last? Yes, that's wonderful. Undefined for the first 2 and key in for the last. I see here 1 hello undefined, 2 hello undefined, 3 hello key in, because now I am taking arguments of 2. Are you understanding this argument sort of thing? Now we are so much powerful now that we even don't need to know how many arguments are there, and we can calculate them. Is that right? We can calculate them. Now let's make it, now let's change its shape. If I say A, B, C, I say A, B, C, right? Now please look at it carefully. and you have to tell me what will be the output now. If I come over here, rather than A, if I write a B here, again, let's change it to 0. Now, what will be my output? First of all, please tell me what will be output for the line 41. For the first line, what will be my output? Now let's run that one and I'll show you. You see, it says one argument, undefined hello. But if you see that for the argument of zero, it says that it is hello. You know what I mean? Because the first argument, remember, because this is the first argument, because we are passing this one. So argument of zero is accepting that one. Now, if you see here, number two, in number two, it is accepting, again, it is accepting two variables, A and B, and it is accepting the hello world. So it will say, okay, the B is basically hello world. Argument of zero is still world, is still hello. It's still, I want you to understand this concept. Argument of zero is still hello. You know what I mean? And now it's basically doing what? It's argument. So when array is created, argument of zero is, and it just creates this array like this. It does not have to be mentioned that, okay, whether it was the first array, but how it is printing those values, it is printing because it is basically taking this from B, A, B, C, the values they have been passed to it. Okay, what I'll do is that I'll cut this from this place again, and I'll put that in the notes again for your reference purpose, because it will be in the notes. But I will just, now talk about some of the discussion. So you see that function will accept 3 parameters, for example. It will accept 3 parameters. So if I just call this function like this, log, and I say 5, like I can pass a number as well, 5, 6, 7. If I call this value, what will be output? See here, 365. What is the 365? 3 is the arguments of length. Length is 3 arguments passed. You see here, how many arguments have passed? 3 arguments. What is this 6? 6 is B, because I passed 3 arguments and B is been printed. You understand what I mean? What do you mean by that? 6 is the B. 6 is B. That's why 6 is printed. Now, arguments of 0, when arguments were passed, the argument of 0 is 5, argument 1 is 6, and argument 2 is 7. So it will say, okay, because I have to print argument of 0, I'll always print 5. Now, can anyone predict my output? Now, if I change it to 2, can anyone, because these are numbers now, can anyone tell me what will be my output now for this value? 5, 6, 7. What will be my output? 5, 6, 7. Okay. Kara says 3, 6, 7. Okay. Anyone else? 3, 6, 7. Ian says 3, 6, 7. Okay. Let's run that one. 3, 6, 7. And why is this 3, 6, 7? Let's understand that. 3 is the arguments, right? And 6 is B still. And arguments is basically 7. So my output will be 7 over here. Arguments of 2. And by the way, as I said, I will be using that one, and I will use that one for someone. So let's see, let's create a function where practically use this one. So I have a function sum, right? I have function sum, and I say var count equal to arguments dot length. I don't know how many arguments user will pass. I just say var count is equal to argument dot length, because I am saying that it won't be accepting any parameters, but I'm saying argument dot length will give me how many arguments the user has passed. Now, var total equal to 0. I'm just initializing a variable, right? And let's run a for loop. Var I equal to 0, I less than count I plus plus total plus equal to arguments of I. Now you see here. Let's see how many of you understand this one, and return total. I've written down a function. First of all, function declaration, right? It's a declaration, some function. I don't know how many parameters will come, but whatever will come, first of all, count will calculate the arguments length, whatever arguments have come. Maybe someone has passed 1 or 2, whatever. I have initialized the total is equal to 0. And then I say var I is equal to 0, I less than count, I plus plus. So less than count means whatever is the length, you just go to that part. And I plus plus. Total plus equal to arguments of I. Now you see here arguments of I. So whatever arguments have been passed, they will be stored in an array. Remember, first value, second value, third value, fourth value. So go and take that value one at a time and store that in sum. Store that in sum. So I'm just calculating the sum of those numbers which have been passed to it. Do you understand that? Now let's call this one. And again, since this is returning, there is no console.log. So what should I do? I should use a console over here. And I'll say sum. Now, tell me what will be my output now? Sum of nothing. Sum of nothing. What will be my output? See here. 0. No, not undefined. Not undefined. See, why not undefined, Glenn? Because total has been defined as 0 and there is no argument. So this loop will not execute and total will be returned. Glenn, are you making sense of it? So it will return a 0 from here. You know what I mean? So it will return a 0. Okay. What will be my output now? Glenn, sum of 1. What will be my output now? Run that one and tell me what will be my output now. It will be 1. And why 1? Because 1 is passed. Count calculated that there is only one argument. Total is equal to 0. I is equal to 0. I less than count. So if count is equal to 1, less than 1 means that the loop will be executed at least once because condition is true for the first time. And then I plus plus. Okay. So total plus is equal to arguments of I. What is the argument? Argument is 1. 1 is added to the total. And this loop will not execute because there was, 1 was coming over here and this loop executes only for the one time. And when the total is returned, it is returned as 1. Okay, you guys will understand more. Now tell me what will be my output. Okay, let me see what has happened with my Zoom it because Zoom it is not working today. I want to take a marker, but marker is not coming. My Zoom it is just doing a bad. Okay, looks like now should be running. Yeah, it's running now. Now see here, 2 arguments have been passed. So argument.length becomes what? 2. Yes, Ian, you are right. 2, the argument of length. Total is equal to 0. Now count basically has become 2. So the 2 will come over here. Now please everyone understand that. I starts with 0. Condition tested. 0 is less than 2. Condition is true or false? True. Go inside. Total plus equal to arguments of 0. Now can anyone tell me what is the arguments of 0 for the first time? Arguments of 0 value. Because the arguments of array has been created over here. And my array has, if I tell you, 1, 2. Do you understand that? So take that 1 and add it to the total. So total becomes 1 in after this situation because plus equal to, we have plus equal to here. You know that the loop completes and now I increment it. When I increment, I becomes 1. So 1 is less than 2. Condition is still true. Go inside. What is the arguments of 1 now? Argument of 1 is 2. Add that 2 to this total. So 2 plus 1 is what? 3. Total becomes 3. Now again increment. Increment happens. It becomes 2. 2 less than 2. Condition is true or false? Anyone? Now 2 is less than 2. Condition is true or false? Can anyone tell me? 2 less than 2. Condition true or false? It's false. And if it is false, it means that now go out of it. When it goes out of it, return. And return the value of 3 and the 3 will come as a sum of this one. Means what it is doing? It is just taking these two numbers, whatever numbers, and returns the sum of those numbers. If I ask you 10 and 20, what will be my output now? Can anyone just execute that and tell me what will be my output? So you see here, it will be 30 because 10 plus 20. Now if I just keep on adding some arguments, if I say 10, 20, and 10 again, then 5, and then 20, something like that. I just called it. Okay. It just allows you to do calculations without being limited to a number of variables like a plus b. Exactly, Ian, you are right. So it's basically making you independent of finding out how many numbers will be there. Just don't worry about that. You have arguments.length, calculate the count, and then pass that in the variable loop, and just take out the argument one at a time and just return them some. So you see now what will happen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It means the loop should run 5 times because argument of length is equal to 5. You understand what I mean? Because now this will be 5 and this 5 will be plugged in over here. The loop will start from 0 and go to 5. It means 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It will run for these 4 values. And these 0 will be plugged in over here. It will take out the first argument. When 0 will be plugged in 1, it will take out 20. When it will be 2, it will make out 10. It will be 3, it will take out 5. And it will be 4, it will be take out 20. And these will be all summed together and they will be added to the total. And total is returned over here. Is that making sense to everyone? I would like you to just have a look at this question later on as well, and just try to understand that understand what is going on. Arguments.length is what? Arguments of 0. So it means that arguments is basically created whenever we pass some arguments. A default argument is that basically created, and that will just that should work fine for us. Okay. Righto. So this is basically how we deal with arguments, and this arguments dealing is typically very nice because now you know that okay what to do with that one, right? So we have already talked about name used to do multiplication. What's the name used to do multiplication? I'm not making sense of your question, David. Can you just rephrase it? Name used to do multiplication. Sum is add and so on. Okay. Is anyone else making sense of David's question? I'm still confused. Yeah, so Ian, it should be, of course, you're right. It should be, if you are asking a multiplication, it should be multiply something. But looks like you are asking something else, or maybe if you're asking the same thing. Because Ian has replied to you, multiply. Yeah, multiply. So for multiplication, it should be multiply, right? That's the point. Okay. Now, I have talked about that one. I think sum is just the name of the function. Manjos, it's not like. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So I'll do that. Cats. As someone has given a very nice example, cats. So function name does not really matter, David. So now it has become an addition function. So it's just the name of the function that we are just mentioning over here.
Hey Norman, could you just go over the function again and explain why each time it goes through the loop, it cancels out the previous number? You know, when it was.
I understand what you're saying. So first of all, William, be unmuted with me because I always like to discuss something with because discussion. William, can you unmute yourself again, please?
Sure. So
Yeah, exactly. Right. So now listen, William. When I am calling this cats function with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5 parameters, first thing comes in your mind is that I'm passing 5 arguments. William, that makes sense to you? I'm passing 5 arguments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. And in memory, there is an array created for these arguments. And that array is like this: 10, 20, 10, 5, and 20. Make sense, William? Because array has been created. And this array in memory is called arguments. You remember? Arguments array has been created. And the length of this arguments is basically 5. And the values are this. So if I want to talk about this first value, I'll say arguments of 0. William, does that make sense to you? If I want to catch the second value, I'll say arguments of 1. William, are you getting that?
Yeah.
I can take out one value at a time from that. If I want to have this 10 value, I'll say argument of 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. You know, these are all arrays has been created. I think if you remember, this is 0 index, this is 1 index, this is 2 index, this is 3 index, and this is 4 index. William, are you sure about this arrays structure?
Yeah.
If you're
I'm
familiar with
I'm all right with that. Is basically I'm just looking at the for loop there, and
excellent.
I'm trying to see.
I'm coming to that. William, I'm coming to
Yeah.
that. And just to understand that concept, that there is an array being created where 5 values are there, 5 arguments are there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now come to the for loop. Now see here, William. The for loop starts with I is equal to 0 and it says I less than count. What is the value of count for in our typical situation right now? What
Yeah.
is the value of count, William? Sorry?
5.
Yeah, it's 5. Wonderful. It's 5. So I'll place 5 over here. Now see here. So after that, you remember for loop, I told you that for loop goes because condition is tested. 0 is less than 5. William, condition true or false?
True.
It's true. Go inside. Now see, total value was 0 before that. When we say total plus equal to arguments of I, what is the value of I? Arguments of 0. It becomes arguments of 0 over here because I is 0 right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what is the value of arguments of 0 right now? Is it 10? William, do you see that?
Yes. Yeah.
So this statement says that total was 0 before. Now update total with plus equal to 10. So if I add 10 to the total, now the new value of total becomes 10 because total is saying plus equal to arguments of 0. Arguments of 0 is 10 for me.
Yeah.
William, you got the concept? Now see
Yeah.
here. The loop gets completed. I come over here. Increment happens. I becomes what?
Okay. Yeah. That's all right. I get it now. It's the I plus plus. Yeah.
Exact. I
So
becomes 1, William.
moving to the next number in the array.
Exactly. So now
Yeah.
1 is less than 5 condition true. Go inside. Find out the next number in array. So second number is array is 20. So it will add
Yes.
20 to this one. This will make it 30 for this time. Total will
Yeah.
become 30.
Yeah.
Really, we got it?
Okay.
I hope.
It's making sense now. Yeah.
Yeah. So increment part is bit okay. That's a wonderful thing, William. You have asked this question because maybe there are other people who are having confusion in that one. So I'll just explain them. I plus plus is making increment of this I loop.
Yeah. Yeah. It's moving through the array. Yeah. I
Yeah,
understand now. Yeah.
that's
Thanks.
wonderful. Welcome. And I'm really happy that you asked this question because so it just goes through the array, and I hope that now guys are understanding this array which is created. Array is created like 10, 20, 10, 5, and 20. And what is happening is that loop is going through from with 0, first of all with the 0, and then with 1. So it keeps on moving 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4. It takes out all 4 values, add them together, store them in total, and total is returned.
We did a little bit of increments in Python, but that was around the last of it, and we didn't do much of it. So, like I said, it's a new concept for us, for me anyway. So, like I
Oh,
said,
William,
that
that's
yeah,
that's a very important observation. And please, and I keep on saying this. I'll say it again. If someone else is still confused as William was, and as I said, I'm really happy that William came unmuted and asked the question. I would like everyone to be very clear about this for loop because this for loop is one of the very important construct of programming languages, and I want you to be very clear about this increment. What is going on? Like, do you remember that one of the screenshot that Kara or I think someone shared when I was discussing the for loop? Remember, I told you the complete working of for loop. Kara, do you remember that? I think Kara, it was you who shared that screenshot, like my screenshot when I was just discussing the for loop over here, and you took the picture and you just shared that picture over there. You will find that in one of the lectures, chat. But I really clearly remember that someone took a screenshot of that. So for loop is very important. This is plus plus making increment. I starts with 0 and it has to go till 5. And how does it go? After every iteration, I becomes 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus. So 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. Then it reaches 5. It just exits out. William, that's wonderful. Can I have thumbs up from others as well? Williams is I'm happy that Williams is quite clear now with this concept. A bit of confusion was over. Okay, so arrays are a bit new for you. That's a good thing to. Okay, so what I'll do, that's considering that situation, I'll talk about the arrays a bit, because looks like I maybe, because that's what will tell me, okay, you are maybe having difficulty, a bit of difficulty in which concept. So see here, I'll talk about a little about arrays here. So what I'll say, okay, var names equal to this basically creates an array. And I'll give you a very simple example over here. And I'll take last few names. For example, Glenn, the last chat names. And then I see Neil, if you don't mind, if you guys don't mind. And before that is Ian. So, okay. So now 3 names are here. So I've taken 3 names. Now I'll first take my marker. I have this array where I have 3 values. Okay. So I have 3 values. So see here, array is created. Array has index numbers. Array always start with 0 index. The first value is always at 0 index. Second value and up to so on. Second value at 1 index and like that. It is at 1 index and it is at 2 index. Right? And now, as I said, I will go very simple, very simple. If I just even I'll just cut them for a second and I'll paste them later on. If I create an empty array and I want to store first value in it, see here how I'll store that. Names of 0 equal to, so what was the first name that I take? Glenn. Now please let me know that are you understanding? Names of 0. I had no value in names, but I'm now allocating I'm now allocating the value over here. So names of 0 is equal to Glenn. Names of 1 equal to, I think it was Neil. Names of 2 equals to, what was that? Ian, right? If I remember correctly. Now you see, I have just done that the other way around. I can define an empty array and I can store values like this. Name of 0, Glenn. Names of 1, Neil. Names of 2, Ian. Now see here, if I want to print them, and I'll print them very manual right now. Console.log. I'll say names of 0. Rather, I'll just use the backticks and I'll say welcome, and I'll say $, and I'll say again that's expression sign, and I say names of 1. Now, I hope you will understand now this very clearly. Welcome message will appear with whose name? Can anyone tell me whose name will have the welcome message with? Will it be Glenn, Neil, or Ian? Yes, it would be Neil's name. You see why? Because I am calling this number 1. That's wonderful. And you know that if I make a diagram, the array has been created like this. Array has first value of Glenn. I'm just writing the first letter, Glenn, and the second name is Neil, and the third name is I, like Ian. So at 0 location we have Glenn. At 1 location we have. Now tell me one thing. If I come over here and I say of 2 names of 2, what will be the message? Message will be with Ian now. Welcome, Ian. A very interesting question. If I write names of 3, whose name will appear now? Whose name will appear now? Let's see who will come up with that idea. If I say names of 3, which is not there, names of 0 is there. That's wonderful, Neil. That's wonderful. Welcome, undefined. Wonderful, undefined. You're right. Now I would like to do something else as well, because as I said that people are having a bit of. So now when I create that one, you know that I have got an array. If I just print this array, I'll say that I'll just print this names. So you see Glenn, Neil, and Ian are stored in an array. Make sense for everyone? Now listen, if I want to, okay, what is that? If I want to use a loop to run these values, like print these values, it is names. It's just printing them as an array. I want to print them separately. Now see here, I'll just remove that. for var I equal to 0, I less than. Can anyone tell me what should I write over here? Oh, I just by mistake removed the name of, I think, Ian. Now, looking at my code, how many times my loop should run? Anyone will tell me from 0 to which value my loop should run, and what should I place after less than or equal to less than? What should I write over here? Oh, what is the count over here? There is no count over here, Glenn. Yeah, I'm talking about a very simple situation. I'm not talking about that. Yes, exactly 3. I know there are 3 values, so I want my loop to run 3 values. Okay, and then I plus plus. William, the interesting part comes over here. Now console.log. I come over here and I try to print the names. So I'll say welcome, right? And I write dollar sign, curly braces, and I write names of, what should I write over here? I. And let's place a exclamation sign as well. Now, can you tell me whose name will appear now? Whose name will appear with the welcome? Glenn, Neil, or Ian's? All. That's wonderful, William. Now you understand that. All. Because my loop will execute now and it will go and it'll say welcome, names of I, names of 0 is Glenn. Print that. Welcome. Now the loop will go I plus plus. The question that William asked. I plus plus. And then I'm so again to that. So everyone understand that. Then I'll tell you a little new thing about, not little new thing. It's something to observe. Do you understand, everyone? I want to have a feedback from everyone. Can you go opposite way in array starting with -1 similar to Python? Ah, exactly. You can do that. You can do that. Rather, you can do that as well. So Neil, if I just do that something like this, I say I is starting with 3. I should be greater than, rather, I should be, yes, greater than or equal to 0. And I minus minus. Now see here, someone has asked the question. That's why I just reversed the loop. You see the output? First of all, it says welcome undefined. And why? Because 3 is no value. Remember, it will reach to 2. Like if I want to run it, the last one is a 2. So I'll just do that. You see here, welcome Ian, welcome Neil, welcome Glenn. Before it was coming, welcome Glenn, because I'm running the reverse form. Neil, you understand what I'm doing? I'm just reversing the loop, reversing the array and reversing the loop. So now loop is starting at 2. And condition will be tested and it will say minus minus, it will just return that one. So it will just like do like that. Now I will just make it again as the straight array printing, and I'll say less than 3 because I want to show you something, and I plus plus. So now it will just print in the same sequence. Welcome Glenn, Neil, and Ian. Now listen about that one thing. As Glenn was asking or saying, Glenn, I don't know, the count was something that we had just calculated. See here, if I don't know how many lengths, how many variables are there, how many values are there, I can do a trick over here. I will say names dot length. What I mean, I don't even know that how many lengths are there. I'll say names dot length. I don't need to write the 3 now. And if I do that, of course, it will work fine for me. And if I just add one more value to it, I say names of 3 equal to, let's say another name, Kara. So if I last name that I see, oh no, yeah. So if I just do that, you see here, welcome Glenn, Neil, Ian. I don't need to worry about changing this value now. Names dot length. Are you understanding this? Whenever arrays there, you can just write dot length and you can calculate the length of the array. Okay, so looks like um, looks like you need some of the array practice, what I understand from this one. So what I'll do is that let's see after maybe before our next session, I'll take out some practice questions for you of arrays, just for some practice questions, and then we'll just talk about and I'll just talk about some other functions as well. So I think we need to discuss something about arrays. Arrays are very, very important part of it, and I want you to be very fluent in arrays before going into before completing this course. So that's something that we'll be just doing that right now. You know what I mean? So I'm stopping over here. And I hope that if someone has a question related to for loop, related to anything, please ask right now, or maybe you can just ask in the next session. Try to practice this. I will try to come up with some array practice questions, and you will just you can just try them out. Yes, William, and I'm really thankful to you, William, because you asked that question and breakdown was done. You know, otherwise I was again. I can never guess that where you guys are going. You have to tell me that okay, we are having this problem. So now I understand. Okay, arrays was a bit of shaky concept. I would definitely put some extra time on that one. And this breakdown, this looping, this everything, I want to put some extra time on that one. And by the way, this week I'm really positive that I'll be having a review session, of course. And then in review session, we can talk about these kind of things more. So this week, definitely we are going to have a review session on Friday. And again, it would be an optional one, not mandatory for to join. But we will have recording as well. You can see the recording later as well. But there we will be just discussing so many generic things. William, yes, definitely it is open for all. You are all welcome to join. But of course, if someone is really having some problems, they should definitely be there, and we will discuss that review. Yes, Neil, that's wonderful. I would be happy to see all of you. By the way, but again, if you feel that okay, no, I have just understanding. Yeah, exactly, Glenn. So JS practice is something that's very important. Okay, so thank you very much everyone for joining in. And again, I'm here if you have any questions. If no, you can if you want prefer you can leave now and you can just do a practice question or something. Okay, thank you very much.